So, welcome to my feeble attempt to make an offering of Buddha Dharma. I feel so vast right now. There's just so many statues. Padmasambhava in front. Since this is a Dharma gathering, we have to generate proper motivation. All the great beings, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, have said that all phenomena, all things come from their own unique causes and conditions. Nothing comes out, nothing happens without cause and condition. Out of all causes and conditions, motivation is supreme. So it's not what you do actually, it's not what you say even. Here on the path of transformation of our mind is the motivation. Actually, if what you do is the path or not depend on motivation. So this is quite important, I think. And also, I've been told by so many of my teachers, some of my teachers will spend almost 10-15 minutes talking about motivation. I used to get so bored. So why this again? Now, as I get a bit older, I'm beginning to understand the beauty of it. Because most of the time we just do things. And almost unconsciously, because out of tradition, out of just some sort of a feeling, out of because your friends are going to the teaching, so you also come. That kind of motivation does not yield the kind of result that we want. Now, we want to be practitioner, true Dharma practitioner. For that, you have to be honest, you have to be sincere, you have to know where you are on the path. Of course, there is a beauty of keep doing things, and it will bring result, of course, without much awareness of what is happening. But then time and again, at least time and again, you should think, what am I doing? Where is this going? How far have I come? And it's okay. If you realize you're more lost than you were before, that's good. That's how something good can happen. All that depends on motivation. What is your motivation? What do you want? What do we want? Ordinarily, least of our motivation is to be a better person, to be kind, generous, to be someone others can depend upon, they can trust, and to be tolerable. No. That's a great quality these days, isn't it? To be tolerable, that you don't, that you make other person feel relaxed. But for a Mahayana practitioner, this is not enough. For a Mahayana practitioner, then the motivation is to go beyond samsara, to go beyond self-cherishing. Not just to go beyond samsara, not just to be free of afflictions, but to actually become useful to others. Now that's what we want as a Mahayana practitioner. And the way to be useful to others is that your existence becomes cause of liberation to others, cause of awakening to others. Now I apologize if there is someone here for whom this is the first Dharma talk. That kind of motivation is needed for the sake of the liberation of all sentient beings. Now speakers and listeners alike should think like this, that I will then talk about this, I will listen to this. And of course you can have all kinds of vast motivation, vast visualization that is taught in the sutras and tantras. Those are all ornamental, not the main practice. The main practice is that at least for this 1 hour, we become sincere, completely honest, no pretense. No pretend, no need. Why would you need to pretend? No pretense, no. Highest kind of motivation is speaker and listener engage in such activity like this so that Dharma will remain. And in this kind of motivation, even the idea of enlightenment is not necessary. As long as Buddha Dharma is alive, door of enlightenment is open for sentient beings, and that's what we want. How else are we going to help someone? We can give them food, we can maybe clothe them. That's very limited. But if you can open someone else's eye towards the reality of phenomena, towards such a thing as Padmasambhava, towards such a thing as Shakyamuni Buddha, that is what is needed. So the door of liberation, which is Buddha Dharma, must remain open, no matter what. Countries can go up and down, cultures can survive, not survive. But the most important thing is Buddha Dharma, and this must live. Not out of some sort of a relentless, patriotic feeling, but out of sheer necessity. The teachings of Buddha can really benefit anyone if they would just open their mind to the possibility of it. They would just be sincere and stop all the games and just be sincere and honest and look at it. They would definitely get so much benefit, but yeah. And so, in line to that, I would like to request you to think about the Buddha, the brave Shakyamuni Buddha, this runaway prince who left every form of comfort, everything that he held dear. He left all of those for the liberation of all sentient beings, to find a solution. And he did. He sat under the Bodhi tree. Nothing, just a tattered robe and a grass and trees and leaves. Nothing. He sat down with his right hand touching the earth, left hand like this in meditation, made a decision that either I die here or I gain enlightenment, nothing else. No mundane phenomena should happen. He decided that one evening, and by the dawn of the next day, right when the light of the sun spread through the forest of Gaya, he gained complete enlightenment. Do you wonder, how did he look like? How was it to sit in front of such a being who is completely free? What would you want to do? Make prostrations, do it in your visualization. You want to hold his hand, hold his robe, or sit and look at his face with wonderment. Please, for the next few seconds, I request you, this is easy, yet crucial now. Everything Buddha did was for the liberation of beings. Even when he coughed or when he would smile, monks would ask, why did the Tathagata smile? And he would say, because such and such being is doing this right now, and in future they will gain such a result. That's why I smile. In the sutras we are taught that Buddha teaches in all kinds of myriad different ways. In the Vimalakirti Sutra, we are introduced to a Buddha that teaches through scent, through smell. There is not a word of teaching uttered. They don't need. It's a different kind of world, far away, where communication is happening through scent. I guess we can understand that if we look at the animals. They communicate through scent. And yet this is much more profound than that. In some world, the Buddhas teach through taste. Also in the Vajrayana too. When you eat all these things, this is teaching. All this is for an awakening, nothing else. Similarly, the form of the Buddha, the kind of face he chose to have, the kind of hair that he chose to have, he chose or he manifested. The form, the way of sitting. Why do you think people love buying Buddha statues? They love putting their Buddha statue in their gardens and toilets and homes. Why do you think? Because it has a very specific effect upon them. They like it. It makes them calm. That is enlightened activity of Shakyamuni. In the sutras, many times, he didn't even utter one word, but beings, through their utmost devotion, and also anyway, when Buddha sits in front of you, it is so transparent. Reality of things are so transparent, you don't need to be taught. That is the teaching, just being in front of such an enlightened being. Sometimes monks and nuns would just look at his face and samadhi will arise in their mind. So, thinking like this, thinking about Buddha walking, sitting, sleeping, and there is not such a time that you should not think about Buddha. Even when you're on your toilet seat, wherever you are, you can always think about the Buddha. That's the beauty of it. The merit generated is unimaginable, they say. Shakyamuni called it the samadhi of the bodhisattvas. So very high. Well, the topic is mind and its perception. Mind and perception. Basically, it's entire Buddha Dharma. That's what we are attempting to talk about. So, I have to make a disclaimer. It's not going to work out. Probably not. But we will accumulate a lot of merit if you believe in such a thing. Even if you don't believe, it will happen. So that's good. Maybe it's worthwhile. Mind and its perception. Mind. What is mind? Maybe it's good to contemplate on this. Mind. What is mind? What do we think is mind? Generally, people have a very crude idea of mind. They think there is something inside them. We think there is something inside us that is seeing, hearing, smelling, thinking, deciding, is angry, happy, attached. That's what we think is mind. Now, for ordinary practices and a way of living, maybe that's okay. That's good enough. If someone would think like that, that there is something inside me that looks like me. Right? That's what we think when we die. Something comes out of our body that kind of looks like us. Because of the movies, of course. And maybe because of also that's how it's experienced when we die. Experience is like that. But we know that experience most of the time is very far from reality. So what is mind? Buddha actually never said that there is one mind. He actually went against it, saying, oh, you have countless of minds in you. Countless of minds. But if I make it short, he said, my apologies if it's becoming a bit scholarly, but he said, you have 8 major minds, 52 minor minds. But basically what it means is that there's all kinds of minds. It's not one thing. It feels like one thing because memory binds them all together. This one mind, which is memory, it binds them all together and you feel like that's. We'll talk more about mind. But here, when we say mind, we're mostly referring to mind that is thinking, making judgment, perception. Mind and its perception. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about perception. Now, originally, triple perception is a very profound teaching of Tantra, actually. And it's coming from the Satyapa tradition. Great Mahasiddha Virupa taught this. So we're not really going to go through that. But we can talk about triple perception. But before doing that, we need to kind of have some idea about mind. What is mind? Everything else is somewhat easy. There is a shape, there is a color, there is a form. It is inside, outside, here, there. Mind is tricky, slippery. Yet, the experience of mind is always there. It is restless. It is dominant all the time. The only thing that is dominant is mind in our experience. And most precious too. Even if everything is wrong, if your mind is at peace, you're not bothered. And even if everything is right, if your mind is disturbed, it's hell. So apparently it is the most precious thing, it's crucial, the most important thing. And mind is the creator. You can say like that, because mind, when under the influence of afflictions, accumulate karma, then you have rebirth. This is the rebirth. I am samsara, because my mind, under the influence of afflictions for many lifetimes, have accumulated such a karma that I am reborn like this. So, obviously, mind is the most important, especially for a spiritual seeker, for a Dharma practitioner, someone who really wants to be an authentic Dharma practitioner, who wants to gain enlightenment. The mind is very important. Yet, in the sutra, in Gaya Sirsa Sutra, one day, after gaining enlightenment, Buddha starts thinking. First he thinks, I have gained enlightenment. Then he thinks, what is it that gained enlightenment? Is it the body or is it the mind? Then he thinks, mind, he says, mind has no place. And that, right there, with this very short phrase, it's a profound teaching. It has no place. It has no place. When you truly believe that you have a mind that has no form, think about the ridiculousness of such a belief. I have a mind that has no form. That has no form. Now, I'm not talking about experience. Experience is you have a mind that has no form. You feel that. You experience that. But the reality of it is that which has no form cannot exist anywhere. Think about it. That which has no form whatsoever. How can it exist anywhere? Just now I was in a car. My body was in a car. Was my mind also in the car? Did it also travel till here? Is it here now? In this seat, on this seat? How can it be here? How can it be not there? Here and there these are games of form. You need to have a form to go from here to there. That which has no form, no color, no shape, how can it come from somewhere? How can it go somewhere? Yet, the experience of mind is unceasing. When I was in the car, mind did not enter the car. It cannot. Or it has to have a form. Only that which has a form can travel from here to there, right? Only that which has a form can be inside and outside. Yet, when I was in the car, I experienced my mind all the time. And I am here. I experience it unceasingly all the time. And I will leave. I will experience it. That is the beauty of appearance and reality. That is the inseparability of mind and its emptiness. Experience is unceasing. The awareness The clarity aspect of the mind is unceasing. You are always aware. You're not a table, you're not a stone. You are a conscious being. You are aware. Sometimes painfully aware. Sometimes it's good to be aware. Sometimes it's just neutral, but you always are aware. While you're aware, such an awareness exists nowhere. Inside, outside, in between, in the temple, out of the temple, you never know. You do not find it anywhere. So that is mind now. If someone asks you, what is mind? You should say this is mind. There is this mind. That they cannot deny this then. Anyway, please ask questions if you have. Now, back to the main topic, which is its perceptions. Then what are we talking about, its perceptions? Shakyamuni Buddha saw that we all have this very strange belief that we have from our birth. No one has to be taught how to believe like this. It doesn't matter whichever part of the world you're from, you will believe these things. One of the beliefs is that you believe in a singularity. You believe you are a one thing, one unit. Doesn't matter who. From the deepest, jungle of the Amazons to the highest tower in New York. All will have this belief, singularity. I am one thing. One of the first teaching Buddha gave was saying, no, you're not one thing. You're 5 different things, he said. 5 aggregates, he taught. Now I'm getting to the perception part, why it is so important. But I like to talk in roundabout manner, so a bad habit I have gained in the monasteries. He said, you have 5 aggregates, you're made out of 5 things, you're not one thing. So he said, look at this, for example, a simple act of picking up this thing. First he said, you have a form, a body, a form, something solid. The form then gets in contact with phenomena like this. And then there is a sensation. So second thing he said, you are also, a part of you is also a sensation. There is a sensation. It's always happening, by the way. You are always having sensation. We're just not aware. Skin to the clothes, with the seat, feet with your shoes or floor. All the time there is form and sensation happening. Then, after sensation is perception. Now that's why it is important, perception. Sensation could be, warm, cold, soft, rough, whatever. Then comes perception, the judgmental mind. This is good, I should have it. This is not good, I don't want it. Perception. Then comes formation. What do you do now? That is formation, kind of mind, the decision that you make. Consciousness is throughout. So when you look into yourself in this way, form is important, yes, but even if there would be no form, you would still manage to create samsara. Sensation is important, yes, but even if there would be no sensation, you will still manage to create samsara. But perception, the third part of us, if you remove that, or if you manage to transform that, none of these will work then. Not the form, not the sensation, not the perception, formation, consciousness. Maybe it's good to hear about these things, All right. The great Virupa said, Now Virupa is a kind of Mahasiddha. He was born in ancient India, became monk at a very early age, and he was abbot of Nalanda, and he would teach the whole day, he would teach the whole night, he would meditate on Vajrayana, but he never got one good sign until he was 70, 71. So then he decided, that's it, no more of practice. No more of Vajrayana for me. And he threw his mala into the toilet. He said, from now on, I only practice Sutra Path. And that night he had a dream of a Devi, Vajraneratmaya, basically a blue lady. And she said, my son, do not do this. Get your mala, make purification, and I will come to bless you tomorrow. He got up, ecstatic, went to his toilet, picked up the mala, washed it, and the whole day he made purification, meditation. And in the night, the Devi came and she gave him initiation, and that in one night he gained the first bhumi. And for 6 nights, the Devi appeared every night, gave him initiation. Each night he gained 1 bhumi. This has never happened before. In 6 days, he was Bodhisattva of the 6th bhumi. So this was his teaching. He said, sentient beings, sentient beings out of afflictions have impure perception. Now, it all centers on perception. Yogis, because of path, have experiential perception. And then the Buddha, of course, the enlightened being, has pure perception. So that's what is meant by 3 perceptions: impure, experiential, and pure perception. So what is impure perception? Without knowing this, like I said in the beginning, we have to be honest, we have to sincerely look into our mind. And then you find that if you find anger, you'll find that it doesn't come alone. When anger comes, it just takes over. And you just, it just takes over completely. And you're just a complete slave to it. And especially when you have anger towards someone, no matter what this person do, you'll find fault in this person, in that action. So that is sentient beings out of their afflictions. Anger is an affliction, impure perception. That is what is meant by impure perception now. Very simple. Thinking that something is real and thinking that that is the cause of all of my problem. Not being able to look into one's own mind and understanding actually it's the anger that's the problem, not the person, not the situation. Same goes with desire. We have so much desire. Desire is really literally killing us. I was thinking about it today actually. Desire brings so much suffering. It is really like a bug stuck into honey. It's sweet, but you have no freedom, no matter what you do. And have you noticed, how many times have you found yourself in situations and you thought, how did I get here? There's desire. You knew it too, actually. You knowingly go into it because you just cannot resist it. It is sweet, it is promising, whatever, exciting, whatever, that's all desire. Yeah. Same. Jealousy? Oh, that one. Yes, I don't even want to go into it. How strong is it, jealousy? Feeling that you are behind, left behind, someone is going ahead. Laziness also, so overpowering, always procrastinating, always postponing. We do that. Sometimes we use Dharma as a means of laziness. And ignorance is all over the place. Jemez Springs says, afflictions are like wearing different colored glasses. Even though the very base nature of our mind is completely pure, even though your eyesight is completely fine, if you wear a yellow sunglass, everything looks yellow. Doesn't help. Even if you go and try to break everything, it will not help until you remove this. Well, in the actual sort of teaching, the example is given. Looking at a white conch. Someone without any eye defect looks at a white conch, sees a white conch. Someone with an eye defect, especially caused by diseases like jaundice. I don't even know if that is real. Who has jaundice these days? But if you have jaundice and everything becomes yellow, your eye, you can see it. And then but many white surface that you see also appear as yellow apparently. You cannot do anything about it. It's just how it is. Just like anger. When you're angry, it overpowers you. Even though you know which is wrong, it doesn't help. You just have to go through it. So, that is what is meant by impure perception. Impure perception doesn't mean like you see something dirty. Not at all. Impure perception means that you have no freedom in it. Just no freedom. And so we suffer a lot. We try to change things. Why? Oh, you do not see things as they are because you have so many layers of diseases or layers of sunglasses. Very simplest of source of suffering is not accepting compoundedness, not accepting impermanence. You know, intellectually we can accept, but emotionally we cannot. We want good things to remain. We pray for good things to remain. While the very nature of good things is to not remain. So now what happens? It is like, how would it be if you tie your feet to the ground and one of your Amtrak comes? Fast, full speed, and you try to hold it and make sure it doesn't go. You'll break in half. That one is not going to stop. That is impermanence. Now, there's nothing sad about it, actually. It's just how it is. We make it sad. We are so sad. Oh, everything is changing. As if it was not changing before. Actually, this good thing has happened because of change. But our behavior, everything is ruled with this perception, impure perception of afflictions. And so we suffer. Now the second one is experiential. Yoginis, due to the path of experiential perception. What does that mean? Now, someone who contemplates impermanence, that is the path, contemplation of impermanence. Everything is changing all the time. something bad happens, not so shocked, not a lot of fear experienced. Something good happens, not so impressed, not a lot of pride or amazement. That is a very strong mind. That is the mind of a yogi, unperturbed, undisturbed, like a mountain. Right now, if I throw this to someone, you're bound to get angry. You have no choice. There's no choice. You will get angry. You will feel pain. I will go to jail. You understand? That is a mind completely dependent on impure perception. No freedom whatsoever. Whereas a practitioner, sincere practitioner, things go wrong, not so surprised, not much shaken. That is called experiential perception. Their mind is now going further and further from the grip of afflictions. That's what we need. Like contemplation of selflessness. So many of you, I'm sure, are practicing maybe Dzogchen, since this is a Nyingma center. Same. This is just exactly the same. Pema Khandro Rinpoche, when he was 15 years old, and he told me this. He went to Dzongsa Khyentse Choju Lodo, previous Khyentse. And he was a bit embarrassed of asking directly, so he wrote it on a paper saying, "Oh, Master, please give me blessing." And then he got a reply. La Mula Chilap Tacho Makaya. He says, "Sir, respectfully, sir, it is highly doubtful that I have a blessing that I can just throw on you." He says, if you yourself would have pure perception and devotion, if you will have pure perception, there is no doubt that you will have a shower of blessing. Why? Other than one's own pure and impure perception, there is nothing that binds us, there is nothing that frees us. So, this is experiential perception is what we want. We are on the path. And it can be a small, very, very minor, like you giving food to a homeless person. You know, your previous self would not do that, but now, because you know, have some understanding of karma, some understanding of compassion and bodhicitta. If out of bodhicitta you do that, that is an experiential perception. You are going against desire. Desire wants to keep things. You go against it by giving. If you can tolerate one day, someone is making a lot of noise, you can easily do this, but you don't. Thinking, oh, this is not good. I should try to be tolerant. That is an experiential perception. So this is what we need. That is what is meant by being on the path. Pure perception we cannot talk about. It's about Buddha and their experience. Who knows what it is? What does a being who is beyond time experience. What do they experience? How do they experience? One day, when Buddha was teaching, he hit his hand on the ground. Now, this is Mahayana, so there is a lot of this talk. He hit his hand on the ground, and the ground broke. And out came countless of bodhisattvas. Maitreya saw that. Definitely this was not seen by all. Maitreya saw that, who are these people? They're all just like me. Maitreya is the future Buddha, is about to become Buddha. So he goes to Buddha and asks, who are these people? They all are just like me. They're all Bodhisattva on the 10th Bhumi. I've never seen them. Shakyamuni says, oh, I have been training them for 3 countless aeons since I gained enlightenment under the Bodhi tree. Now, think about this. At that time, in our perception, he gained enlightenment maybe 30 years ago. But for the Buddha, maybe not even for the Buddha, for those beings, 30 years, what is 30 years for us, was 3 countless aeons for them. How can we even then attempt to understand mind of an awakened being? But in this language, Buddha has pure perception, meaning have no such judgment. Buddha does not have impure perception because there's no affliction, there's no anger, so there's no acting out of anger. There's no desire, there's no acting out of desire. Completely awakened mind. And so, throughout, if you read, there are hundreds of volumes of teachings of the Buddha. Nowhere you will find that he was intimidated, he was bribed, he was coaxed. No, that never happens. Sometimes people killed, there was a very famous courtesan. It's a fancy word for prostitutes, I guess. Courtesan. And they killed her. They killed her and threw the body behind Buddha's residence, basically, his meditation hut. And then made noise the next morning. Look at Gautama Buddha. He acts like he's monk. But in the night, he called this courtesan and spent time with her and refused to pay and then killed her. Buddha didn't say a word. Monks start panicking. Everyone started panicking. Buddha didn't say a word. And within a day or two, the truth came out. Who killed her? How did they kill her? It all came out. Buddha was not afraid when he was blamed. He was not happy and relieved when the blame was gone. Nothing. Now that is a free mind, awakened mind. What would happen to us if we are blamed of murder? And in front of people who depend upon us, who we are like their teacher, and then you are blamed for murder like this, we will just lose our mind, we will break apart. So this is a pure perception here. That is what is meant by pure. Pure perception doesn't mean immediately Buddha starts seeing lights and rainbows. I don't think that's what is meant by pure perception. Do you have questions? I actually don't know what you're thinking. So if I keep going like this, it's going to be a very one-way exchange. Yes, please.
Well, pure perception is seeing, things as they are without afflictive emotions. Is that
part of it?
Part of it. Okay.
When you do that, strangely enough, you feel compassionate. You become kind. And that is also a pure perception. I'm always amazed with this phenomenon. Buddhas and Bodhisattvas sees that there is no true existence to all phenomena, and yet they have so much compassion for sentient beings. I think that is pure perception. And of course, it doesn't just happen without cause and effect. When they were on the path as bodhisattvas, their biggest fear was selfishness, nothing else. Just as for the arahats, biggest fear is attachment and anger and these things. They want to get out of it, not arahats, sorry, someone on the Sravaka path who wants to get enlightened as quickly as possible. Their biggest fear is, samsara, karma. Bodhisattva's biggest fear is becoming very, very selfish, self-centered, having self-preference. That is the renunciation of bodhisattvas. They're so afraid that they'll become very selfish. And so when they become Buddha, it manifests. Yes, please.
Is it the same mind in all three visions, in all three stages that is experiencing?
Maybe we can talk continuity, but not the same mind. Of course not. It's really like this clear glass of water. Now, right now it's clear. Then you put salt, it's salty. Maybe you put enough sugar, it becomes sweet. And a bit of lime is sour. Then colors, it becomes red, yellow, blue, green, who knows? Throughout that, is it the same water? Right? That's the question now. And maybe slowly at the end we purify it and it becomes like this again at the end. Is it the same water? Not really, is it? The red water is not the blue water, the green water, the sourness, sour water is not the salty, the sweet, right? Not really the same water, but is it a different kind of water? It's actually also not a different water. And that is the beauty of things. It's neither one nor different. Like mind. Right? Is it somewhere? You can't find it anywhere. So is it nowhere? Of course not. You're experiencing it right now. And it always goes together like this. Maybe then in terms of continuity, you can talk about like this. The wetness, it's becoming a bit abstract if you're not careful. The wetness of this phenomena is always there, whether it is red, yellow, blue, green. And that, you can talk about that. That is what is our teachers are attempting when they talk about nature of mind. Nature of mind. They're talking about the wetness of the water. We're angry. We're so devoted. We're sleeping. That's red, yellow, blue, green, all this now. What is the true nature of all of these? This awareness. Aware. They all have the ability to be aware. And that is the clarity, that's the nature of mind, they say. It's very similar to this, yeah. So you can talk like that. Then the awareness, you can say, is the same. Whether you're a sentient being or you become Buddha, the awareness is unceasing, like this. Whether it is a red or blue, green, water, its ability to be wet, to make things wet, to be wet, is there. What do you think? Mind is an interesting phenomenon. At least those who believe it is brain, they have other problems, but at least they don't have this problem. Look at this. A formless phenomena, moving form. It should not be possible. What do you think?
I think the clarity issue, at the same time. Can you kind of explain that a little?
Clarity?
Or emptiness, or so are those qualities of the mind?
Yes. You can call it qualities of the mind. And that's what it's called in the text to make us feel good about it. These are qualities. But also all the sufferings is just the same. Clarity of the mind is still there. One beauty of phenomenon is that if you know their reality and if you look hard enough, it falls apart. At least you're grasping to it. Have you if my tie is on the ground, I forget it here in Pema Ling. Pema Khandro Ling, much better name. I leave it here. And then the caretaker comes in. The light is all off. Thinks that is a snake. What snake do you have? Rattlesnake. Oh, that's better. Rattlesnake. Let's say she or he has just saw one outside and is very much afraid. Impure perception, fear. So now everything, she's prone to thinking there is a rattlesnake. Sees the tie in the rattlesnake. Then I come, oh, I left my tie. You understand? She thinks, that's the tie. Fear gone. That moment is gone. Very same, like in a dream. This must have happened to you sometimes. When you're dreaming and some people are, attacking you. And suddenly you realize this is a dream. And then they just stop. They don't throw stones anymore. They just don't know what to do. You understand? So, yeah, it's clarity. Yes, so when you look at clarity, then all the other games of the mind sort of subsides. Just look at its true face. Like knowing it's a tie, it's not a snake. All the fear of snake is gone. This, I guess, very experiential, and I really don't know, but I know people who experience like this. But I said before, your thoughts, your feelings and experience is unceasing. You always experience it. Have you watched your mind? It never stops. It never stops. It must think something. It must grasp something. That is clarity. That's clarity. Yet, a formless phenomenon like this can exist nowhere. So it doesn't exist anywhere, yet you experience it all the time. And this always is together. Is it non-existent? Of course not. I experience it. Is it existent? No, it's nowhere. So that is the perfect balance of everything. I don't know what I'm talking today. It's just a mishmash of a lot of things, but yes, please.
What makes humans different from animals is we can change our minds. Can you talk about how, about the power of humans being able to change their minds? What's that?
Humans. Well, we assume that we're better than animals.
I don't know about that.
Let's say that. Let's say we are.
Sure, we can change our minds.
I think being better or not better is like because we play football, they play something else. You know? So it's very difficult to judge who is a better player. But yes, changing mind, that's what I was talking about till now. It's impure perception to pure perception. If you could do it one day, when something happens or nothing happens, you could just look at this. This is just change. I am change. Not I am changing, I am change. You just look and just remain like this. That is changing your mind. I don't know what else did you mean. Yes, please.
So, you mentioned that the Bodhisattva's greatest concern is self-centeredness,
Yes.
and being selfish. As a former codependent people pleaser for about 15 years, how do you reconcile self-care and self-love, or how do you balance that with selfishness? Like, you can bend over backwards for other people, but doesn't one need to love themselves? Like, what's the balance?
I have to make a confession. I do not understand self-hate. We don't have it in our culture. I did not grow up with that. I experience it, like some people tell me, I really loathe myself. I don't like myself. And I believe them. I do not really understand them, you know.
You're very fortunate.
Yes, we have a Tibetan service. Now the younger generation have that now. I'm seeing that we younger generation have such issues like depression, Tibetans, even Tulkus I've seen going, needing a lot of support and so on. This definitely must be a big issue, and it really is. It's spreading all over the world. It is a real disease, actually. Disease or whatever it is. It's a real phenomenon. And of course, one should care for oneself. But here, when I'm talking, what I'm talking here is an authentic practitioner. Authentic practitioner. I am not an authentic practitioner right now. So I have a long way to go. So I have to care for myself. I have to think, what I'm going to eat. If I give all of this, I must have something for me to eat, And that's okay. That is never a problem. When we take Bodhisattva vow, it is there in the vow. Just as Buddhas of the past have taken bodhicitta and practiced gradually, step by step. I too take this vow and practice step by step. It says step by step. I don't have to do all of things day one. So then, yes, have self-love. Take care of yourself. Eat something good. Wear something nice. That shouldn't be a problem. But also know that this has to change one day. Yes, what else? I really like this question. It's really good. Much better than what I have to say.
I'm part of a club at my school where we learn how to, talk to people who show signs of wanting to commit suicide. I was wondering how you would respond to someone.
That's so difficult. Maybe if this person can focus on something else than their own pain. Think about someone else. I'm really serious. If they could do that, even they experience immense pain, I'm sure, loneliness. And if they could look at someone else and think, may this person never experience such a thing, I think there is a hope. Because compassion, the very nature of compassion is that of joy. These people need warmth. I think this is just how I think. When I first came to Germany, I'm not going to tell his name, but there is a Khampa Lama there. He's been there for 20 years, and he said, "Oh, Rinpoche, these people have something called depression." I think it's just laziness, he said. After 20 years, this guy tells me this. I didn't correct him. It's not going to work. But I think maybe it happens because sometimes there is a stagnation in our life, purposelessness. You feel small, insignificant, and not needed. And so just go out and give something to someone. You're needed. You're not a useless thing. I think that is going to help. I actually said that to someone, a person who had no problem in her life. She said, "I have no problem. I'm really depressed. I don't know what to do." And so we discussed. I thought maybe something happened to her. Nothing. Just depressed. And I said, "Oh, can you just go to the market?" And she loves children. I said, "Look at children. Right? So happy. And you want good for them. And then pray, may this child never go through such pain like I have, or this being lost, completely lost, not knowing, having no purpose." That's, I think, is really bad, having no purpose in life. So think like that. And I think she said it happened a little bit. I don't know though, but what I'm trying to say is maybe we need to focus a little less on our own, because the more you do it, it's like a never-ending tunnel. You'll go deeper and deeper and deeper, and nothing will be enough.
But how to stop it? How to stop depression? Like somebody's suicidal, they are so folded in on themselves, you almost can't reach, and the idea of doing anything for others is just like...
I don't know. Maybe, I don't know what will work. Maybe they like to drink, take them out. That is a good door. Who knows? Maybe they like dirty jokes. The dirtiest joke you know. Of course, maybe you don't say it from the first time, "Hey, you should think like this." It probably won't work. I'm sure many people have tried. But you never know what will work. I know I'm still alive. In entire Europe, I have met a lot of people. I've traveled a lot in the last 7 years. The most impressive person was a Christian guy. For me, this man was so impressive. Almost 90. His Christianity, the lineage, it's neither Catholic nor Protestant. It's very different. It was started by a guy who wanted to get to the root of Christianity. So he learned the ancient language. And they say like only maybe 15 pages of Bible can be trusted, like that. They say things like that. And this man was fascinated by Indian culture. So with the one who started their tradition. So he also studied a lot of Sanskrit and Pali, and he read a lot of Buddhist texts and so on. Anyway, so this old man belongs to his tradition. When I talked about Buddha nature, he just wept. He said, "That's the most beautiful thing I ever had." And he's also extremely learned. When he speaks, it's poetry. It's real poetry. And he likes to watch how things are. One time we met, and he told me that last year he was depressed. He said because he's nearing 90, all of his friends are dead, and all of this. He was a big deal when he was younger. He was really like 2 PhDs. He was a really learned person. I asked him, "How many books do you have?" He said, "Near 9,000. I've read all of them, maybe at least twice." Like, not just that, but that's just one facet of his intellect. But he said he was so depressed. He thought, why live anymore? I have to get up every day, brush my teeth. This is what he said, brush my teeth, and I must clean myself, and I must make food, and then eat that food, and then I have to go somewhere or just sit in my chair. I am tired, he said. I have no purpose in life. Now, winter is cold in Germany. It was nearing winter. So one day when he was cleaning his window in those days, and it's dark, sun rises around 8:30, sets around 5 p.m. A butterfly flew in, a moth flew in. It was cold outside, so immediately he crossed the window saying, oh, it's going to go back outside and die in cold. So then he Googled, what do moths eat? I said, he found out so many things. And he'd buy those things. And he tried to give that moth. And he did, every day he tried to do this. Until one day it was gone. His depression was gone. He had a purpose. He thought about someone else and his own situation. We really are social animals. We need to think about others, or we cannot survive. Why do people who isolate themselves, however famous they are and rich they are extremely lonely, and they suffer a lot? They have sufferings we cannot even imagine, I think. Hunger that we cannot even fathom. Maybe it's because of that they get so disconnected with how they're supposed to be. Yeah. Anyway, this is a very big topic, so. And I am not a trained therapist. Or, I don't know.
That's a good question.
Yes, please.
I was just thinking for a short answer, but I know it's very extensive. One of the newspapers I noticed that we had sent out the press and calendar releases, they said in the little description that Rinpoche, that Tulku Rinpoche was going to be speaking about his various lives.
Really?
Right? Yes. Wow. And I thought, that's so funny. So if there's anyone here that saw that, I was just going to ask, maybe when I read the biographies of the first 5, Rock Tree first, right? And then especially when we got to the 5th one, I couldn't even read it. I had to put it down at one point. I was so emotional because when they spoke about his imprisonment and that he was meditating and he had passed away, and then the officers came and were kicking him, everything. He was already dead. I didn't know. I went back to it to finish, but I wonder if you could maybe just talk about, I know that you're also going to speak about refuge, but just...
We're going to speak about refuge?
Well, no. Maybe not.
That's more important.
Yes.
These are just stories,
Okay.
I'm serious.
Yes.
I don't think I am those people.
Okay.
I really don't. I am full of afflictions, fault. If this is the result of 5 lives of practice. What does it say about Vajrayana? And I'm sure I was maybe like attendant or goat or something that belonged to them. Yes.
To talk a little bit about, in Western culture, especially right now, we talk a lot about empathy and having empathy, and the difference between empathy and compassion.
What is, I don't know, what do you think it is?
Empathy seems like this capacity to feel, but not necessarily connected to action. Compassion seems more connected to activity. Or
could be same too, I think. I'm not really good at understanding the root of English, different words. Compassion can also be like that.
So if you take away the words, but like the feeling, like if you're sad, you're depressed, and I come up and I can feel it, that feeling versus the what is this a rising of compassion.
Doing something about it. You think that you're saying that? The difference between just feeling or doing something about it.
Maybe, I don't know.
Okay, feeling sad for someone, feeling worried for someone is already doing something here. Remember, mind is the most important thing. You're changing your mind and you're feeling for someone else. Yeah. Actually, we are advised to first think about compassion for a long time, then actually doing something about it. Because right now we are weak, our compassion is weak, our compassion has conditions. If a rich person asks for some food, you probably will not feel like I want to give. You have something, see, it's conditional. But then if someone is respectful, please give me something. I give you. If they're not respectful, they take you like this. You don't want to. It's very, very weak. So dependent on things. There's no freedom, this kind of compassion. It cages you and it depresses you also. It will tire you out. So then we are advised first to just sit somewhere, keep thinking, I will liberate all sentient beings. 100,000 times at least. I'm serious. You're much stronger then. Then you do something, it comes from a much deeper place. Any questions, please? Yes.
Karma is so kind of misunderstood in the West. Can you just kind of clarify that just a little bit?
About what is the misunderstanding?
Well, it's kind of a direct correlation, that we feel maybe like you're in control of it. You're the one that's, if you do this, you're going to get that. It's kind of not going back too many steps. Is that correct?
I did not understand the confusion of it.
So in the West, people talk about karma all
Yes,
the
of
time.
course.
And they say, they make a direct correlation between something, say, someone's having a problem, and they think that they did it to that person. Or maybe that person gets sick, or maybe it's a mother that has a child who gets sick. And there's taking a lot of personal responsibility, saying, it's my karma that I've hurt this person, or it's something that I have control over. Do you think that we have control over karma, over what we would
Maybe not in this way, but definitely we have control over it to some extent. Karma is so tricky that Buddha actually advised beginners not to think about it. The explanation of karma will go first, it's like too good things will happen. Don't do bad because then bad things will happen. Very, like, as you tell a child, that's such a, in a way, very, very oversimplification of this complex phenomenon. Then you go higher and higher and higher. Then they say things like, when you do something, and then the positive karma, negative karma remains on your mind, and that is carried, and one day the conditions will come together, and this karma will bloom into its result. There's that kind of talk. Then if you listen to Chandrakirti, it's a whole another talk about what karma is. Karma is basically how everything is. Nothing vanishes without creating something. Everything creates something. Why shouldn't the mental action also be any different? Everything creates something. They say, That is karma actually. Legend, cause and effect. That's cause and effect. Everything is a result. Everything is also a cause. And there is nothing in this world that doesn't create something. It always creates something. Mind creates the next mind. Physical form creates the next physical form. And so, then this belief is then borrowed to now action of the mind. So why shouldn't it be so? And this is the best explanation of why anything happens to us at all. It's the best one we have.
So how do we control it?
Oh, pure. This is it. Accept the reality. Accepting the reality. We are not accepting the reality. Actually, I am making sounds from my mouth. You, because you have learned the meaning of this sound, you are understanding something. This is not accepting the reality. You understand? What is the difference between this and what is I'm coming out of my mouth? Actually, it's just beating of things, sound. But we have taught ourselves that this has a meaning, and we believe it. We are fixed on it. Whereas this is nonsense to us. That is the reality. There's no difference. It's just sound. One has been imputations of a meaning. One does not. Maybe that was a bit.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So, is one of the purposes of our minds then to assign meaning to what sound is? And there's a lot of talk about like thoughts creating reality, what you're thinking or your mental activity is making your life right here and right now. I think I have two questions. That's a question, but the choice we make to assign meaning to the words coming out of your mouth versus the sound of that tap. How do we decide what means what?
We don't. We are taught. I didn't decide to call this table.
Yeah.
Someone else did.
Yeah.
So we are taught. This is a learned ignorance. Learned ignorance. The other one was not learned, thinking in terms of me. Everyone has it. No one has to be taught in terms of thinking as myself as separate from this person and that person. No one has to be taught that. That is inherent ignorance. Language and all this, learned ignorance. But they have purpose, of course. About the other one, is it called manifesting?
Yeah, that kind of vibe. That thing. That kind of thing.
It would be nice if whatever I think would happen. Shantideva said that, a great master from 6th century. He said, if whatever beings wish would happen, no one would suffer in this world.